What's up, guys? NBA Talk. Your boy Showtime here to talk about the Houston Rockets situation that just been is being reported going on right now. Over an hour ago, James Harden, Chris Paul are at odds. Chris Paul wants out of Houston. James Harden giving an ultimatum. It is an implosion in the Houston Rockets locker room. It's just crazy, which I think this was going to bound to happen because there were signs already. So let's break it down. This season had been bad from the start. Like they were having a terrible start, a real terrible start to the season. And James Harden was able to bounce it back by going overtime with Chris Paul being out with injuries. And then Chris Paul comes back. And then there's been ongoing rumors that there was a situation going on between James Harden and Chris Paul. This was not the first time, because I think there was last year, there was a video of them arguing with each other. Chris Paul trying to dab him, and James Harden swung it off. He's like, fuck out of here. Like, nah, bruh. No. So, this isn't the first time they've been arguing with each other. It has been odds with each other. But it seems like it's gone to a boiling point. And then we did hear, after the season was done, after their postseason, after they got eliminated by the Golden State Warriors, there was a locker room fight. Well, an argument between Chris Paul and James Harden. Is crazy. And now we're hearing that Chris Paul wants a trade. Because remember also earlier this month, there was a rumor that the Houston Rockets wanted to trade Chris Paul, and Chris Paul found out. The Houston Rockets wanted to trade Chris Paul to the Chicago Bulls. Would have been crazy, and they were very hell bent on trading Chris Paul, and this was very upsetting to Chris Paul, of course, because this is going behind his back. So the Houston Rockets know, like, this is not going to end well for this team. So Daryl Morey, he's in a bind, and James Harden, it's been also reported that he made an ultimatum between him and Chris Paul. It's either I leave or Chris Paul leaves, basically. So this team is going to fall apart badly. Someone is going to have to get rid of. Chris Paul's contract is terrible, and that is the big dilemma about this situation. How are the Houston Rockets supposed to get rid of his contract? That big old contract that doesn't end until like 2021, because he's going to opt out of his contract for sure after the 2020 to 2021 season. He's going to opt out because he has one more year with that player option there. So yeah, he will be available by 2021. But that is one big contract that he has. He's going to be, for the next year, he's going to keep going up from 38 mil to 41 mil and 44 mil after. So he's making over 30 mil, over 35 mil into the 40s per year, per season. That is crazy. And I don't know anybody that's going to take that contract. Who is going to take that contract? The Suns, maybe? Like, no one in the right mind would take that contract, especially dealing with a Chris Paul, who seems to be really having the stigma of being a bad teammate in terms of communication. Like, he can't communicate with other players. He does not get along with a lot of players. This happened in the LA Clippers, and I heard it happened with the Hornets too, with David West, I think. So this has been an ongoing issue with Chris Paul. Like, he really has a bad rep for himself, and no team should be going after him. I know I would not go after him. But what is Daryl Morey to do? he has to get rid of him. And you have a big contract on your hands that you have to get rid of. And even so, I'm starting to believe that the Houston Rockets are not going to ever win a championship with James Harden. I think his style of play is trash. It's so much iso ball, so much him having the ball in his hands. Like, he goes throughout the entire season just putting up 30 points per game, and then he comes into the playoffs looking absolutely weak. I think I might put out a video on him. I might, because it needs to be addressed. Because, of course, this is the perfect time for them to go after and get a championship for the team. But I don't think they might still not win. They may not still win. Because you can't play with this style of play. I will talk about this in another video about James Harden. Maybe in a Houston Rockets video, just strictly them. I'll talk about James Harden and stuff, because I don't think they're going to ever win a championship with him. And they might end up having to trade him for the future. Seriously. So yeah, Houston Rockets are in a very bad situation. The locker room is split apart. James Harden wants Chris Paul out. Chris Paul wants to be out. They got to get rid of him, but they have a big contract that they have to get rid of, and who's going to take it? So that's it. Leave your thoughts below about the situation. It's a mess. It's a real mess.